You still here with your homeboy first. Appreciate y'all for being down with me, and I appreciate all of y'all who fucked with my GOAT QB project. Man, I was just looking in my notes, and I went to the properties of the document where I did all the notes, man, and I started this shit in November of 2019. November of 2019. So initially, I thought that I started it in the midst of the pandemic to kind of break the monotony of everything didn't have any sports. But going by that, no, I just started it because I wanted to analyze these cats. I wanted to look deeper at these cats. It just so happened that come March of 2020, hell, all hell broke loose, and y'all know the rest was history. But I did it. I got it done, and I'm proud of myself for finishing it. But here are 5 lessons that I gained from the project. Okay. And hopefully you gained from the project if you watched all of them. Okay. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, I my QB GOAT project was an extensive look at 22 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Okay, 22 of them. I went all the way back to the guy who they say was the league's first great quarterback, and that was Sammy Baugh. Then I did Otto Graham. Okay. Follow that up with Johnny Unitas. Did Bart Starr, Fran Tarkenton, Joe Namath, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, Randall Cunningham, John Elway, Warren Moon, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Brett Favre, Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So over the whole 100 and some year history of the league, man, I went all the way back. Shit, Sammy Baugh played 1937 to 1952. I went back, I'm telling y'all. And I looked at shit. The basic stuff, the MVPs, the Super Bowls, the basic statistics like the passing yards and all that kind of shit. But what separated my project from anything else that you're going to see on YouTube, and what really was a hell of a lot of work for me, was going through and pinpointing how many top scoring defenses these quarterbacks had with them, and how many top rushing offenses they had with them. Because I had to go by year, find the team, document this and shit. Like, it was tedious. Also looking up the notable teammates for all the guys, and finding little tidbits about their teammates, finding tidbits about their coaches. I watched documentaries on the players. I watched documentaries on their coaches, and uh, it was a hell of a lot of work. And like I said, I'm proud that I finished it. But here are my 5 lessons from the project. Number 1, this project confirmed 2 cliches for me. 2 cliches that we hear all the time when we're talking football. And that is that defense wins championships, which is something you hear across sports. And the other one is that football is the ultimate team game. This project confirmed that. Okay? Shit. The quarterbacks that got all the damn rings, the quarterbacks who have all the major success in terms of the team accolades, Super Bowl appearances, or it wasn't always called a Super Bowl, championship game appearances and championships overall. Man, it's the ones who had the team. particularly the defense. Okay, take for instance, two men that are tied for the all-time lead in championships in the history of the NFL are Otto Graham with 7. He won 7 championships in 10 seasons. He went to the championship game every damn year of his career. Okay, and won 7 of them things. And Tom Brady, who's played 22, full season. He's starting the 23rd right now, and he's won 7 Super Bowls. Okay, well, if you look at those brothers, Otto Graham blessed. He had a top scoring defense in all 10 of his seasons. 100% of his career, he had a great defense. But 8 of those years, he had the number 1 defense in the league. And the other 2, they had the number 2 defense. I think that translates into 7 championships. Now, Tom Brady is 3rd out of these guys. Okay. For his career, he's had 18 of 22 seasons. He's had a top 10 scoring defense. All right. And when Otto Graham played, it was different. For that era, pre-merger of the leagues and stuff, I used top 5 defenses or top half of the league, because shit, early on in the league might have had 8 teams, or then they might move to 12 teams, and I use the top 6, so I had to vary that. But by the time Tom Brady played, you got all these teams, and he's had a top 10 defense 18 of the 22 years. That's 82% of his career. Okay, so the only 2 quarterbacks that had more great defenses with them, that's Roger Staubach. He had won 10 of his 11 seasons, but 91% of his career. All right, a lot of folks don't talk about that with Captain America. They don't give those defenses of the 1970s credit in Dallas, because of the steel curtain in Pittsburgh. But Dallas had a bad motherfucking defense as well. Okay. And the other one is Otto Graham. Otto Graham don't know what it looked like they had to carry no team in terms of your defense is shit and you gotta go out here and throw this bitch and get them back. He don't know nothing about that. Okay. But the other names that are up here, Joe Montana. He's 4th on the list. 80% of his career, he had a top 10 scoring defense. 12 of his 15 seasons. Okay. Steve Young was his backup. He part of that dynasty. To my 10 of his 15 seasons for 67% of his career. Top defense. Now he only got 1 bowl as a starter. But he got 3 on his resume because again, he was Joe Montana's backup. But Terry Bradshaw, he's 6th on this list. 64% of his career. Top scoring defense. 9 of his 14 seasons. Bart Starr, the Packers dynasty of the 60s. 63% of his career. 10 of 16 seasons. Top defense. Troy Aikman in the 90s. 58% of his career. 7 of the 12 seasons had a great defense. Like, if you gonna win as a quarterback, your defense need to come on to the party. We've seen this. We've seen that a trash quarterback can win a Super Bowl with a great defense. Trent Dilfer, Jim McMahon, Joe Flacco. Let me be respectful. Average. An average quarterback. These boys below average, though. Joe Flacco got hot in that playoff run. And everybody thought playoff Joe. Come on, man. Y'all see who Joe Flacco is. It's that defense. And even these great quarterbacks. I've seen Tom Brady play with my eye. Tom Brady is a great quarterback. But you need that defense. Joe Montana, great quarterback. You need that defense. Okay? Quarterbacks that didn't have that, I mean, it was tough on them. Kurt Warner, he had the greatest show on turf, but 2 of his 12 seasons, he had a top 10 defense. 2. All right, 2. And shit, he still made 3 bowls though. You know what I'm talking about? Aaron Rodgers down there with him. 3 of his 17 seasons. 3 out of his 17. So 18% of his career, he's had a top 10 scoring defense so far. While Brady has had one for 82% of his career. It's a vast difference. And there's a lot of other guys at the bottom of this list that really didn't, make it to a lot of. Drew Brees been to one Super Bowl. Part of the reason he only had in 20 seasons 4 top 10 scoring defense for 20% of his career. I mean, Dan Marino is down here, 29% of his career. Warren Moon, 24% of his career. Like, it's hard to just judge these guys just based off these Super Bowls then when you look at shit through this prism. Because again, football is the ultimate team game. Okay. Another thing that I learned is that ownership truly matters. Of course, we know that the coach matters. Well, you should know that the coach matters in football. But one of the things I learned while studying, when I would be going and finding the notable players from the past in particular. Now, once I got up to like the 90s, 2000s, stuff like that, I had watched the game enough. And I could remember certain notable players. So, like, if you watch my joint on Aaron Rodgers fans, I'm just going, I'm a Packer fan. I mentioned like James Starks. I mentioned Jermichael Finley. Well, those guys ain't finna be in no Hall of Fame. But since I'm in this era, I knew to mention those guys. Well, from those guys all the way back in the gap, like the Sammy Bars and Otto Graham, stuff like that, I just went by the Hall of Fame teammates they had offensively. So when I was doing my research on that, on those teams, I would always see, well, who had a good owner. Because a lot of these guys' owner would be in the Hall of Fame, or in the write-up about the team, they'll mention the ownership and the kind of support that the ownership was doing and how it invested the ownership was in winning. You know what I'm talking about? And so when you think about these dynasties in this league, these teams that have had sustained greatness over a period of time, you look at New England, Bob Kraft, willing to, do what he got to do to win. Very supportive of Bill Belichick. Really only crossed Bill Belichick one time, and that was about Tom Brady. Other than that, let that man do what the fuck he want to do. The Rooney family in Pittsburgh, very supportive. Unless I'm tripping, I think they would have got 3 coaches in the history of the damn franchise. 3. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. Each coach has won you at least one Super Bowl. They got stability. 49ers, you used to have the DeBartolo family. You know what I'm saying? Stability. Support. Jerry Jones, when he first got in there with the Cowboys, Jerry Jones let Jimmy do his thing at first. Okay? Jerry Jones made a gangster move by firing Tom Landry. That took nuts. Okay? In Dallas, Texas. Okay, again, I read a book called God's Coach. The motherfucker's called Tom Landry God's Coach. That took nuts to fire that man, but it turned out to be the right thing to do because Jimmy Johnson was the right move. But see, Jerry Jones also fucked it up. See, you see the good and bad with ownership with Jerry Jones. You know what I'm talking about? He's great from the marketing side. He was good at first with bringing in Jimmy, letting Jimmy build the club. But then it got bad then because he wanted to shine, and we see what happens since. So ownership matters. I think that's part of the reason why the Browns can't get right. Now, in my research back in the day in Otto Graham's time, they had good ownership and shit. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm talking about present day Browns or the Detroit Lions. My God. I don't think they won a playoff game in 60 years. Jalen Rose, y'all put together an ownership group and buy that team from the Ford family. I think that's who got it. Some get that some got to change up there. Ownership matters. Okay. Third lesson is that we've had more QB coach beefs than are really advertised. Okay. Because those are the faces of the team, the quarterback and the coach. You know, again, it's the ultimate team game. But the coach and quarterback typically the leaders. They're the voices uh, of the team. Coach overall, quarterback definitely of the offense. But if you got a quarterback with some real juice, shit, the whole team will galvanize around the quarterback. So, with that, these two alpha males, it's come some beef. And we've seen that more than you would think. Brady and Belichick always gets publicized. Brady Belichick, okay? But Terry Bradshaw and his coach, Chuck Noll, and that Steelers dynasty was no love story. Them motherfuckers did not like each other. Chuck Noll was I almost called him aristocratic. But you might can say that. He was well read and drinking his wine and doing all that kind of shit. And Bradshaw just wanted to be a country boy, have some fun. He didn't want nobody fussing at him, cussing at him like that. He didn't want that. But Chuck Noll wasn't about that. They didn't get along. They didn't get along. Even till I think Bradshaw didn't go to the man's funeral. I think Bradshaw for the longest wouldn't go back to Pittsburgh. Period. So you don't hear a lot about that though. I learned that doing this project. Montana and Walsh. I didn't know that they had some smoke because they wanted credit for the success of the 80s. Shit, to be the 49ers in the 80s, shit. Part of when you got so many old head 49 fans today, and they pass that shit down their kids. 49 were rolling. And shit, Walsh wanted that credit as the genius. Montana wanted that credit as shit. I'm the one making this thing work. Sound familiar? Elway and Dan Reeves. I know he's tied to Mike Shanahan, but he actually had more Super Bowl appearances under Dan Reeves. Okay, see, John Elway was killing the game in the 80s with Dan Reeves. But shit, they had smoke. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't really get publicized like that for real. Another one was Troy Aikman and Barry Switzer. Troy Aikman loved Jimmy Johnson. Shit, for good reason. Jimmy turned that thing around in Dallas. They won back-to-back Super Bowls. They put together a team that should have probably ran off probably 5 in that decade. Boy, we're young. But like I alluded to previously, Jimmy and Jerry couldn't get along. So in comes Barry Switzer. Aikman didn't like this shit. Aikman thought that Barry Switzer was too damn lax. You know what I'm talking about? He was used to the good cop, bad cop routine. Well, Jimmy Johnson be the bad cop and he can swoop in and be the good cop. But with Barry Switzer being so lax, he didn't have the bad cop. So he had to be the bad cop. And he didn't really like having to get on cat's ass all the time like that, and your head coach just let shit ride. You feel me? Now, of course, we all know about Brady Belichick today. We know how that turned out. And Rogers McCarthy, we've heard of that, but it ain't always just peaches and cream with these quarterbacks and these coaches, man. No, so that's something else I learned from this project. All right. Another thing that I learned that was infuriating to me was how racial discrimination really took opportunity away from Warren Moon, man. Like it's taking opportunities away from countless black quarterbacks who've been forced to change their position and go do this. Y'all know the story. Warren Moon was what they wanted you to be. He wasn't no just running quarterback, and he wasn't no one read run motherfucker. He had proved in college that he could throw the ball around the yard from the pocket. One of the best arms ever. Great throwing motion. They raved about how that motherfucker came off his fingertips. You can hear it spinning. You know what I'm saying? Just spinning off of it. But that man was not drafted out of college as a quarterback. Had to go to Canada and play, and was dominant up there, ran up the numbers, championships, MVPs. And it took like 6 years from that man, though, bro. Now, like on another segment, I was talking about how Doug Williams is the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and Warren Moon doesn't have a Super Bowl. And it seems like Doug Williams is more thought of, he brought up more in shit in my culture than Warren Moon is. And Doug Williams can't hold Warren Moon's job in terms of football. I ain't talking about as men, okay? Not talking about as that, because I know Warren Moon has some shit go on later. But in terms of football, no, it ain't fucking close. Warren Moon one of them ones. But the man had all them fucking years taken from him. And so look at the numbers he compiled even after that. What if he's able to? Patrick Mahomes got a Super Bowl his first 6 years. Russell Wilson did. Tom Brady got like 3 of them motherfuckers. Like, it happens. Ben Roethlisberger. A lot of quarterbacks do get success early. Maybe that could have been him. Maybe that would have been his best chance. Maybe he could have got on a team with better defenses. We don't know because the league was on that bullshit. And I didn't know that part of his story until I did this project. So Warren Moon is like the NFL poster child of how racial discrimination hinders black excellence. He really is. Because ain't no telling what that man's career could have been. You give him them 6 years. But we'll never know. But the last lesson, that really wasn't a lesson. I already knew it. So this project reaffirmed this. And that's that numbers lie without context. Numbers lie without context. So please retire that shit. Men lie, women lie, numbers though. Retire that shit. It's cap. Numbers do lie like a motherfucker without proper context. Take what I just told you about Warren Moon. If you just look at his career numbers, you're going to assume that this man came straight out of college, just like all these guys of the day, whatever, and these were the numbers he amassed. No, that motherfucker had to go play in the CFL because of racial discrimination. Or take what I told y'all about Randy Moss in his first season with Tom Brady, where he broke the record for single season touchdown receptions when he had 23. Well, he did that in the 16-game season. The record he broke was held by Jerry Rice, who had 22 touchdowns in a 12-game season. It was a strike season. Okay, so still to this day, really, that's more impressive what Jerry did. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't look at the context, you don't know that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't look at the context, you don't know that. So it's a lot of little shit like that, man, that I picked up throughout the project. Just a lot of little tidbits like that that y'all can find if you go back and check them out. Now, again, I started the project back then, so it kind of really follows the maturation of my show. Put it on some, because you see me initially, I'm at the table, I got my drink there. I don't even drink brown no more. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm in, and I sure don't drink it straight like that no more. You know what I'm saying? My wife went off on me about that. But I'm sitting at the table, got the computer there. My audio is not as good because I wasn't using this. but I was getting it in. To my move from there to another location, doing, once we start using this thing right here called StreamYard. Uh, so it grew, I grew, and I'm glad I did it. But for all y'all youngins out there or anybody that needs inspiration, this is a bonus lesson from it. To finish what you fucking start. Finish what you start, okay? Because I'm going to be 100 with y'all. The videos within that project have not been driving my views on my channel. So really, from a business standpoint, it was not even smart to keep doing it and putting it out because it's not driving the views like my coverage of Jackson State University or some of these wild and outlandish things that happen in sports. People like my takes on those, but it's something about finishing something. I started it, I want to fucking finish it. So finish what you start, man, as long as it ain't hurting you. If it's some fuck shit, stop that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying just finish something just to be finishing. But if it's something that's not hurting you and it's something that's actually growing you, finish that shit. Because this project has been good. I feel much more knowledgeable about the game. Nothing replaces watching the games. Okay, so that's the next step for me is being able to go back and use YouTube and try to find. I want to go first watch all the Super Bowls. Okay, I want to watch all the Super Bowls, and I want to at least put my eye on one full game from each one of these quarterbacks in this list, if I can find it. I did watch highlights on all of them, okay, but I like to watch full games, to give that context. You get to hear what the commentators are saying. Some recordings that's on YouTube, you get to see the commercials that they were showing back then. I'm a history man, so I love all that. But I appreciate all y'all that viewed the project, man, and taking the time out to put your eyes on my hard work. Put your partners on it, and I hope it helps y'all in y'all barbershop debates and help y'all in your group text debates. All right, put it on some.
Thank you so much for watching my daddy's YouTube channel. Make sure you like, share, and turn on your post notifications. Okay, how do I do it?